Hello, welcome to the Trews Special Edition. Today we're looking at the film of Adam Curtis that is called HyperNormalisation, in which he looks at political narratives, political myths, and the way that we've become detached from politics over the last 20, 30 years. And as a result, we've become quite detached from ourselves. In this first clip, he talks about Colonel Gaddafi and how Colonel Gaddafi at various points was used as a hero and a villain depending on the requirements of the media narrative.
Tony Blair and George Bush were faced by disaster. Iraq was imploding, while at home they were being accused of lying to their own people to justify the invasion. What they desperately needed was something that would show that the invasion was having a good effect in the Arab world. So they made an extraordinary decision. They turned for help to the man who they had always insisted was one of the world's most dangerous tyrants, Colonel Gaddafi. And instead, they set out to make him their new best friend.
What's interesting, I think, about Adam Curtis's films is he takes big political themes and global geopolitical issues and points out how the motivations behind them ultimately are quite sort of interpersonal and simple, because no matter what the scale is upon which these events are taking place, it's ultimately derived from human emotions, human feelings, and human needs. So things like greed and jealousy and manipulation, anger, all these things, these are the ultimate players, what in the Greek pantheistic terms would be called the gods or the humors or the furies, the great forces that are within us all. And as a result, poor old Colonel Gaddafi, he's like, have you not got a vague memory of some kid at your school? You sort of, why did we pretend to like this kid for a while? And get him all whooped up. Hold on a minute, I was that kid. Or is it the movie Carrie? I've become so detached from reality, I don't know which narratives are media narratives, which are the film Carrie, and what's my own life? Christ.
It was going to be the highest achievement of perception management. A man who had been created by the West as a fake global supervillain was now going to be turned into a fake hero of democracy. And everyone, not just politicians, would become involved. Public relations, academics, television presenters, spies, and even musicians were all going to help reinvent Colonel Gaddafi. It would show just how many people in the Western establishment had by now become the engineers of this fake world.
You've got to say, Adam Curtis is a masterful filmmaker. He conjures mood very beautifully. His selection of archive is sort of exquisite, jarring and interesting. The music is really peculiar, and his voice, he's got a very beautiful voice, hasn't he? When you actually meet Adam Curtis though, he's sort of like a really sweet, adorable and lovely man. Another thing you should know about Adam Curtis is that his career began with the Sausages dog on Esther Ransom's That's Life. You might, if you're English and sort of about my age, remember that dog that used to have sausages on That's Life, a sort of coital, post-coital, sort of orgasmic sausages.
Tell us what you have on a Thursday, Prince.
Yeah, what's yours, Skippy Prince? What?
Adam Curtis made that film. That's weird. Put that into your mind and sort of deal with it.
But Colonel Gaddafi confessed. His son Saif was interviewed about the confession. He said that his father was simply pretending that he had been behind the Lockerbie bombing to get the sanctions lifted. That new lies were being built on top of old lies to create a completely make-believe world.
Quite extraordinary that the Lockerbie bombing, which obviously sort of many people died, great tragedy, affects people to this day, that in itself becomes subject to, what do I want to say, Machiavellian manoeuvring by the geopolitical class, and that there's a sort of a very jarring amorality about that. And like, even though Adam Curtis is telling us and I'm passing on the information to you, you kind of already know it, don't you? You have this sense of unease, and that's what this film HyperNormalisation captures very well, the sense of unease that one is left with when you recognise that the world you're living in isn't telling you the truth. And what does one do when you feel like that? You have to kind of detach.
You have to accept, or you had to accept at that time, a responsibility, because you have to accept responsibilities, you have to pay compensation in order to get rid of the sanction. It means we did that not because we are convinced that we did it, but because to find an exit out of this nightmare.
I like this. That's Colonel Gaddafi's son there saying we took responsibility for Lockerbie, not because we did it, but to get sanctions lifted. So I suppose in a way that's the way that international relations works. We say you did Lockerbie, please. We didn't do Lockerbie. Yeah, no, but we'll lift these sanctions. Okay, we'll say it. Oh yeah, that's a bit mad. Does the truth matter? No, it's not relevant.
So what you're saying is that you accept responsibility, but you're not admitting that you did it.
Yes.
That's amazing, isn't it? So what you're saying is you accept responsibility, but you didn't do it. That's right, yeah. Didn't actually do it, but we'll accept responsibility. Oh, okay. Okay then. Reality's all just made up. Nothing means anything. Because this isn't like something like, did you accidentally take my coat instead of your own coat out of the cloakroom? This is, did you blow up an aeroplane for the people? No, you said it. Yes.
In September 2002, the head of MI6 rushed to Downing Street to tell Blair excitedly that they had finally found the source that confirmed everything.
This is another wonderful bit. This is the story of the informant inside Iraq who finally gave the governments of the US and the UK the information required to go to war in Iraq. Proof of weapons of mass destruction. At last, we've got proof of weapons of mass destruction. Let's definitely go to Iraq. Where'd you get the information from, and what is it?
The source, he said, had direct access.
Is a source with direct access? Do you mean a bloke who's been chatting?
To Saddam Hussein's chemical weapons program, which was making vast quantities of VX and sarin nerve agents. The nerve agents were being loaded into linked hollow glass spheres. But then someone in MI6 noticed that the detail the source was describing was identical to scenes in the 1996 movie The Rock, starring Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage.
Can we talk to you about some of your spies, please? I won't have my sources questioned, they're reliable. It's just like some of the information that we're going to war in Iraq for come out of the film The Rock. No, he's a good geezer. Hold on, he's on the phone now. Yeah. Right, we've got to invade Syria. Why? They've started this dinosaur park out of a little bit of amber, had a mosquito in it. What if it all goes wrong at this sort of dinosaur Jurassic themed park? Right, well, I think that's also from a film. Don't question my sources!
It's a cholinesterase inhibitor. Stops the brain from sending nerve messages down
A later report into the Iraq War pointed out glass containers were not typically used in chemical munitions.
But also, like, when you watch it, you sort of realise how little you know about stuff like that. Because I don't know the difference between, like, a Nick Cage and Sean Connery film in which they go, yeah, there's nerve gas, it goes down the spine or whatever. And then something I see on the news, I don't bloody know. What do I know? I only know what you tell me. If you tell me that's the truth, fine, go to war. Or was there millions of people protesting about that war in the street? I wonder how they're going to feel, the people that protested that war, when you later on find out that the reason the war happened came out of the film The Rock.
Seizes your nervous system. Do not move that!
And the informant had obviously seen a popular movie known as The Rock that had inaccurately depicted nerve agents being carried in glass beads or spheres.
Skin melts off.
Oh my God.
That there is a threat from Saddam Hussein, and the weapons of mass destruction that he has acquired is not in doubt at all.
It is in a bit of doubt, because you've got some of the information out of the film The Rock. So I suppose what's great about this Adam Curtis film is he brilliantly articulates that sense we have of separation, distinction, separateness from the political narrative. He also explores in the film what effect that has on us as individuals. That's the film HyperNormalisation. It'll be available on iPlayer. Check it out. Adam Curtis, we've done some promo for you simply because we love your films. Also check out Adam's back catalogue. You'll see that most of the episodes of The Trews have in some degree or another been informed by it. That's some true news, promotion for Adam Curtis. Subscribe here, actually.
Nose is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the nose. If the nose was true, I want some trews. Let's have some trews.